Big day for the sports wagering bill on Tuesday as it made it through state legislative committee on Tuesday. The bill's getting support. Representative Cameron Henry, who is out of the Old Jefferson Airline Park District in his fourth year. Great part of town. Fourth year of his third term as a state representative. He's jumping on with us this morning. He's got a bill right now, does Representative Henry, that would not limit sports betting to certain facilities, nor does it set taxes, rates, or define who would be allowed to place bets. It simply would let residents vote or against legalizing sports betting in their parishes, requiring lawmakers to work out the details next year. I think that's best case scenario for Louisiana right now. Representative Henry joins us on Off the Bench. And Representative, not only do we host a on-air show here between 7 and 9 a.m., when I get off the air, I go and represent Guarantee from a sales perspective. And a lot of the people right now that buy ads on our stations are Mississippi and Gulf Coast casinos promoting their sports gambling bill outside of Louisiana. As a resident of Louisiana and somebody who could sell advertisement to Louisiana casinos, obviously that is frustrating. When you hear that news, what is your reaction?
Well, that's one of the reasons that we have the bill this year. Casinos offer sports wagering as an amenity, as just something to attract their customers to come in and stay a little bit longer, maybe, or attract them either from inside the state or out. So we want to make sure that Louisiana is competitive in that market, but we also don't want to prohibit some of our local facilities that may want to participate in it from being able to do that. So that's why we have a Senate Bill 130 is a very broad bill. It just simply says whether or not Louisiana wants sports wagering, and if the majority of the populace wants sports wagering, we'll work on the legislation starting probably in December, and moving forward to come out with all the details.
So, Senator Henry, the bills that advanced out of committee, as I understand it, that will allow parishes to vote on whether or not they want sports gambling. But didn't we do this vote already? And the majority of the parishes did, but it still didn't get passed. What happened last session to cause everything to go awry?
Well, we've never had a referendum on the ballot for sports wagering. In previous years, we had a referendum on the ballot for fantasy sports, which passed in 47 parishes. But we've never had anything as relates to sports wagering. Last year, the bill that came up had a lot of confusion of who was going to be able to do it, and by the end, everyone was opposed to it. The casinos were opposed to it. The racetracks were opposed to it. Literally everyone who would have profited off of it had concerns about the bill. So we just put a halt to it, and we came back this year with a simpler, cleaner perspective of just a straight up or down vote. And then from there, we'll be able to gauge what members want to do moving forward as who should be able to participate in sports wagering and who's not interested.
Yeah, look, I know sometimes in a bureaucracy things can move a little slow. What's kind of timeline on this? Is there any hope that sports fans could be gambling in Louisiana by this football season? No, we will not. That's not there because the election, we have the election first, which will be in November. Should that pass and be successful next year, we'll have to come back with a multitude of bills dealing with the taxation of it, dealing with the licenses and fees, and possibly another bill dealing with the definitely another bill dealing with the regulatory. Obviously, how is it going to be regulated? So we still have 3 more bills to pass, which we can do either next year, or if we happen to have a special session after the November election, we can do that. But this is the pace that we're going to move, just how Louisiana is structured on when you can raise taxes. Louisiana can only raise taxes, the legislature can only raise taxes in their 2nd and 4th years. So that's next year and then our last year. So obviously we're not going to pass it without the ability to raise taxes on it, to be able to put some money towards locals and the state as well. So we have a little ways to go, but it's going to take some time to get the bill right in the regulatory side of it. So I know everyone's anxious to rush through it, but usually when you rush through something like this, you wind up having to come back 3 or 4 times to correct it. And we're going to try to avoid doing that. But you do feel good that this year everybody's on the same page about at least advancing it to that stage
when you get the nuts and bolts of everything.
Correct. I haven't. The casinos are on board. Racetracks are on board. The opposition from previous years has subsided because everyone realizes that it's going to take a monumental effort to get. We need 2/3 of each house, the House and the Senate, to pass a tax. So that's a significant number of votes to pass a new tax. So we're going to need all the help we can get on that, and fighting amongst yourself to see who's going to get something before it's even possible to receive is kind of silly and a waste of time. So we're going to put this first step forward, and then if we're successful, then we move on to the next one. And as long as people don't get greedy, everyone will be fine.
Senator, what is the outlook on what type of revenue this could generate for the state?
Well, that varies. I mean, some people, it really depends on how you do it. If you look at other states, if you go 100% mobile, obviously that's going to generate the most revenue because you're moving people who are currently doing it on illegal sites. You're moving them to doing it legally. Because if you're currently doing it on your phone, whether we legalize it in Louisiana, where you have to still go to a facility to do it, you're less likely to do it. You can do it the same way you've been doing it. That's one process where if you want to generate the most revenue, I think that's probably where where you would lean to. From a regulatory side, it might be I think only one state has that, so we really don't have all the kinks worked out in policing that. And we want to make sure that minors aren't gambling. We want to have the safeguards in place. So we have to make sure we can regulate and properly secure whatever we put forth. And we might not be able to do that just yet. We might have to obviously have casinos and racetracks and off-track betting, but maybe certain other venues would like to participate, certain size bars, certain restaurants. So you just have to kind of wait. You kind of have to wade through all of that. Obviously, the more people that have access, legal access, the greater revenue you're going to generate, but you also have to balance out with security of the whole system.
So, Senator, just to summarize, you think this could be as much as maybe 3 years away?
No. We could have this done. Well, we could have it done next year. At this time next year, it could be the bills could be signed, and if we work the right way, starting in November of this year, with the legislation to implement it. How it's going to run. That way, when session comes up, we've worked out all the issues, and you're just passing forward. And this time next year, you'd be able to assuming we have sports, everything is going well like we hope it is. You'll be able to start wagering legally on sports.
Obviously, we don't talk a lot of politics here, but session is now back in. You guys were delayed with the pandemic. We'd be remiss if we didn't ask, how has business been operating since getting back to work in this COVID-19 world?
All right, everybody's adapting to the new way we're going to do things. Obviously, less people in the Capitol, less committee members going on at one time. We've slowed down the process, just like everyone else has had to slow down what they've been doing for the past couple months. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Members have gone through and kind of filtered out bills that they once thought were very important are no longer very important. So we've limited bills so we can move through the process in a timely manner. Everyone's being very cordial, like we always are in Louisiana, in Baton Rouge. Everybody understands the pressure everyone's under and the concerns and everybody's health concerns. So we're taking good steps towards that. So we're moving at a good pace. I think, unfortunately, I do think we'll have to have a special session just as relates to the budget and securing enough information to make an intelligent budget. But we anticipated that almost from the beginning of the COVID-19 epidemic. So we'll get things done. Probably not by the beginning of June. More likely towards the end of June. We'll be able to wrap everything up.
Senator Cameron Henry out of New Orleans, much appreciate your time this morning. Thank you for the update, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Got it. There he is, Senator Henry, stopping by here on Off the Bench.